Speaks Talk Radio, where women's words are changing the world.
Hello, this is Intuitive Life with Wendy Dixon, and today I'd like to welcome Christel Rosenkilde Christensen from Denmark. Thanks so much for joining us today, and it's so wonderful to link up Christel. Christel works with many different organisations to help and support them to develop conscious leadership, which in turn helps them to improve the way that they run and manage their businesses. I would like to just ask Christel now, how would you describe conscious leadership and the kind of work that you do with the many different organisations that you work with?
Yes, thank you for having me here, Wendy, first of all. And to me, the way that I present conscious leadership and why I think it's crucial that we bring this global awareness and a rising consciousness is that conscious leadership, it's all about connecting ourselves to that which is greater than ourselves. And we can all be leaders of our own lives and our businesses and leaders in the world, whether it's athletes or performers or politicians, whoever is, whatever leadership we're in. There is, to me, there's no purpose with leadership without consciousness. Because Absolutely. When we bring in consciousness, we tune in and tap into that which is greater than ourselves, and we will be more intuitively guided towards what is the right way of leading the world, leading whatever field we're in, leading whatever people we're in touch with. And it can also be individuals, like we are parents, we're leading our children, we're in a community, yes. We're leading the people that talk to us. We can all take leadership. So I may talk to the elite or we're leaders in various industries in the world, but this is about all of us tapping into that which is greater than ourselves and accept responsibility. Yeah. Because when we're tuned in, if we are more conscious, if we are more aware in our leadership, we will never go about making decisions that are destructive. We will always be guided and shown ways to enhance life, whether it is planetary, humanity, or the universe. The way when we are conscious leaders, we will be in tune and in touch with life itself. And It may sound very abstract, yet when in the everyday life, when even a question of, should I eat this chocolate now? No, I need an apple. We become more aware when we take a deep breath, when we are conscious of our choices. Yes. And the same in businesses. It could be, should we, are we hiring this person? The person looks perfect on the CV, but if we take a deep breath, do we feel the chemistry? Do we have something to give to this person we hire? Will this person fit in? Will this person help us to create a better work environment so everybody's more happy? Will this person assist with bigger results? And will this person assist us with our entire stakeholder chain to uplift the people we work with and improve the world or not? So it's about, in all choices in life, are we tuned? Are we breathing? Are we connected with that which is greater than ourselves? Then we make decisions that are good for all of us and not just for a mean, like whether it is monetary or fulfilling, an immediate need. It becomes long-term and it assists life.
So I guess it's all about an energetic interconnectedness, isn't it? And it's
Absolutely.
about an awareness of each other's energies at whatever level we are. So you've worked with many different types of businesses. What kind of types of businesses have you worked with, Christel?
Wendy, it's all sorts of industry. It's pharmaceutical, it is production companies, it is very, innovative technology companies.
Yes.
It is entrepreneurs, and it is conglomerates. So it's, so in businesses, it is, it's all industries almost that I've been working with. My niche is with the people, the aware and conscious people who are willing to make new choices, to truly step into a new game, and the way we will work now and in the future.
Yeah, and I guess it's a very different way to work, isn't it? And for many organisations, it will be an alien concept, I guess, to think that they're bringing that energy in, that connectedness in, and perhaps won't even understand it. And certainly when you bring in sort of psychic guidance within that, how have you been able to overcome some of the more difficult questions, or people who kind of really don't get it?
Yeah. To me, since I was a little girl, I've sensed energies, I've seen solutions. Only until when I was 26, I realized other people didn't. Yes. So I thought up until that age that some people, and maybe the majority of people, had a mean strike to them, didn't care about what they did to others, or when I got into a more business focused life, that they just didn't respect each other, didn't respect life, didn't respect consequences that were for their choices. So my entire childhood and youth were, it was a natural way of being with things, even in my studies, in my, bachelor and master's, which was finance, which were a negotiation, a global entrepreneurship, and very, very much focused on performance and optimization. I then had this new vocabulary to go talk to these people. Mm-hmm. And when I started my company almost 2 decades ago now, I studied quantum physics, neuroscience, to verify the energetic way I understood the world, and pioneered the concept called energetic leadership that I also wrote a book about, so that I had a language to meet leaders in various industries with, and for them to have an anchor in the real world. Yes. So I had this different approach to talking to them and introducing my psychic advice as, maybe the most fine-tuned way of being conscious, being aware, even though I had the gift from a child. And to me, that's what I'm brought into this world to bring to the light what is not met by the physical eye. Yes. So being very evidence-based and trained for 30 years, I've trained mediumistically, intuitively, psychically. I've trained all over the world, and at the same school as you, Wendy, the Arthur Findlay College as well, where we met. Yes. So I've become extremely evidence-based. So if sitting with a CEO of a company, a conglomerate, I would be shown that he had 3 factories in India. The factory most at the south, you would go into the front entry, go to the right, go up to 2nd floor, 3 doors down. There will be one of his executives with his back to a big red painting. And then I would be shown that this person had lost somebody significant in his family, and he was not able to commit to his responsibility. So if they wanted their India strategy to enroll the way they had envisioned, they would have to take care and nurture this executive and give him the assistant he needed, because he was a great value, great asset to the company.
Absolutely.
So it was not about replacing him, it was about assisting him.
Yes.
So that would be an example, or it would be a company facing difficulties with a supplier in Vietnam. They wanted to change that supplier, and I would be shown not to change that supplier, but to create a program for training this sub-suppliers with quality management. So it's like down to these, it's everything is so evidence-based in the region. So to me, bringing that in has not been so difficult as I thought it would be, and as other people think.
Yes.
But in my workshops with the executives or the big sports teams, when they bring me in, I, of course, have to respect the skepticism of the team when it's the manager who brought me in. So, with extreme care and nurture, I, with evidence-based insights, slowly show them things that only they can know. And to me, I don't believe in showing things that they won't show to other people. So it's always very respectful process of bringing things to the light, optimizing the team and the individual in front of each other, so that when I leave, new information has come to play in the executive group or in the sports team or whoever I'm working with as a team. When I leave, they feel, each and one of them feel more proud of things that you've forgotten to communicate to others. And we have looked at challenges that they haven't seen as a group, so we can find out how to use their abilities on a stronger level to achieve greater success and greater impact in the world.
Yes.
So it's this respect, and of course also because I've worked in a conglomerate myself as a global leader, and with my academic background, I think it helps a lot for me to work with the clients I'm meant to work with.
Yes, yeah. And I guess because you have that kind of background, you can empathize with what they're going through. You have greater understanding of what individuals are dealing with. But with that intuitive psychic link, you can also link into the individual to help them to move forward and create the best version of themselves. I know you have helped sports people to achieve great things in the past as well, haven't you? Yes. Wonderful. Wonderful. Now, I know that you've worked in 28 different countries, all over the place in many different guises. And I also am aware that you undertook a world tour. So would you like to tell us a little bit more about that, Christel?
To me, since I was a girl, I've always traveled to different countries, studied in China, in France, England, lived in the US, just lived all over the world. And so, of course, when I'm guided in my work and in my passion, it's also global.
Yes.
And my Treasure Change the World tour that you're referring to started as me, and I would say it this way, it was, starting and building my company was based on meditations.
Yes.
When I was 28 years old, I quit my global job in this conglomerate. To me, it was, I've seen so much suffering in global management and leadership because of what people didn't see, because of the lack of awareness, the less conscious ways of driving performance. So when I sat down, I meditated, I was, given the concept energetic leadership to speak to leaders and speak about conscious performance. And then, so I've been every step of the way since a child guided in my meditations.
Yes.
And then finally, I would say it this way, because it was, everybody who's built their own business know that it's, there's always challenges, and especially introducing, psychic readings and energetic leadership. It was me, I had to pave the way for myself. It wasn't something that was known. So 8 years in, I had achieved everything I could have dreamed of. I had my dream house by the water, having clients all over the world, and was so fortunate and privileged to have the demand instead of me having to go out there and find work. And so I was in such a good place, so grateful. And then I was asked in a meditation, morning meditation, out of the blue, to sell everything I owned and to travel the world and create a tipping point, bringing awareness to as many people as possible, preferably 22,000 people,
Yes.
and make them aware that they could change their lives for the better, they could change their results and create a positive impact in the world, not by changing who they were, not by taking extra hours or extra education or a new job, but by being who they truly were and becoming aware that they matter, that the way that, if they're breathing and connecting in everything they do, their lives will be better, there will be better results, and they will create a positive impact greater than already. Because so many people, people all over the planet, we are, by our smiles and our graciousness and by assisting other people, we are changing the world. So I'm not saying people don't. This is how to raise awareness that we can do even more. And for some who are not happy, not content, to show them they could be.
Yes.
So I was quite puzzled to begin with, because I literally just achieved what I dreamt of. So to give up everything was a big ask, but I've always listened to my guidance. So over the course of a week, where every meditation I was in, I was shown more specifics about going on a journey, following my intuition every step of the way, not knowing where to go, not planning, but breathing, meditating, and follow my guidance.
Yes.
And you don't have to meditate to be in guidance. We can feel, is it left, is it right? Should I talk to this person? Should I not? So to me, it was listening to that guidance. So within a week, I had accepted. And after 3 months, I had then sold everything from my cushions, my bed, my lamps, my clothes, down to 2 suitcases, one with summer clothes, one with winter clothes, and a few books and oracle cards I could not let go of, and of course, pictures and such.
Yeah.
So then I embarked on that journey.
Yeah, that sounds like a most amazing journey. So you must have had some wonderful inspirational experiences on that journey. Are there any of those that particularly stand out to you?
Well, Wendy, when I left, I only had the thought I was going to assist, I was going to bring awareness, I was going to give everything I had to help humankind and to assist everyone on my way that were ready to hear my message.
Yes.
So a friend of mine just before leaving said, "Oh, this is going to be an amazing pilgrimage." And I thought, no, this is not about me. It's about people. It's about other people, what I can give.
Yes.
And I remember 3 months in sitting on the big sur in the US, looking out in the ocean, a pod of whales swam by. And I remember having tears coming down my eyes and being embarrassed how much I had gotten out of the trip already, 3 months in, and I was traveling for over a year.
Yes.
Because of all the conversations that I had gotten into, no matter who they were, I learned something. I was given a gift of their answers. And, I just realized that all people have innate wisdom within that is unlocked when they're reminded of the fact that they matter.
Yes.
So I was the receiver of so much wisdom, whether it was the man on the street, homeless, or it was the film producer in LA, or it was an Aboriginal leader in Australia, or two young men sitting next to me in a cafe talking about a negotiation. They were so focused on that one result that they were, they didn't care about being squeezed by that investor or anything. I'm just happy they got the opportunity. And then I got to talk to them. What is it that you really want in life? What is it that you want your invention to be for people, not about what you can earn in this little go? And suddenly they just realized that the reason behind wanted to create this invention was to help worldwide. And this one company that had squeezed them and paid almost nothing for the invention, or offered to, we're not ready to share this worldwide. They only wanted it for their own company.
Yeah.
So after half an hour conversation with them, they were, reboosted, new energy for truly finding the perfect way for their invention and their business, and open to again find new investors.
Yes.
And in turn, this man just turned around to me and he said, so what about you? How do you feel about this journey? I said, I was very nervous to begin with, because I was asked to sell everything, give away everything. So I must admit, I am quite nervous for coming home with nothing. Yeah. And my clients still waiting for me. How am I, I'm actually quite nervous sometimes about what I'm coming back to. And he said, the one time I left everything was I had a job opportunity set on the West Coast. I live on the East Coast. And to take that opportunity, I had to sell most of my things to afford a more expensive accommodation near New York. So he said, and when I arrived, I didn't get, the job fell away, and I had to go home and stay with my parents for a period of time. But Christel, after 3 months, my dad died, and I had spent the most precious time with my family.
Oh, right.
So no matter what's going to happen, you're going to go back and stay where you're supposed to be, and something amazing is going to come out of it.
Yeah.
And that reassurance from a source that I hadn't, we were talking about something completely different.
Yeah.
So I can talk about so many examples, Wendy, but that time at the Great Sur, looking out at the pot of whales, just having extreme, turned shame into gratitude for receiving as much as giving. That was just an eye-opener beyond anything, and such an explosion of compassion and gratitude. But there's so many stories, Wendy, so many of great people that I met along the way.
It sounds absolutely amazing. And I believe that on the back of that, when you returned, you did actually write a book and describe some of your experiences within the book.
That's actually still on the way, Wendy. That's I'm writing a lot of other things, but that experience is still so much working within me. Yeah. But I can say that after 3 months on the ground, I had a call from a business in the US that heard about me, from somebody in Chicago that heard about me from Australia and booked me immediately. So within 3 weeks, my entire life had been rebuilt, and I had nothing to worry about. So anybody who is out there wanting to give, I've never experienced having given something without getting it back threefold. And So the story is still to be written. I'm still writing, but other stories had also been written and published in the meantime.
Yes, indeed. So I think what an absolute phenomenal journey, and the fact that you trusted so much that it was just all going to work out. That's so hard to do, because it makes us realize that the possessions that we have in life are not that important. It's about the personal experience. And on the back of that, you obviously went through a great deal of not only personal growth, but business growth as well. And you've been able to reach a lot more people. I'm aware more recently that you did a speech to a group of entrepreneurial women in India, and quite a number of entrepreneurial women, actually. Could you tell us a little bit about that, please?
Yes, but in looking back, the pandemic that we're experiencing right now is, of course, a tragedy for many people. But it's also given an opportunity for all of us to be more used to working online.
Yes.
And so when I had an email from some network I was speaking 8 years ago. I was speaking at a conference in India, based physically in India,
Yes.
where I was talking for a group of Asian leaders about conscious leadership. And a woman there that I connected with, she then wrote me this summer if I would be interested in speaking, and this time due to the pandemic, online.
Yes.
And to a group of female rural entrepreneurs in India.
Yes.
And it was so inspiring because she said that India had experienced, it's been a lot of hardships with the pandemic, but she was sharing that supporting female entrepreneurs in the rural India with her organization.
Yes.
Before the pandemic, there were 15,000 members, and 80% were men because they were there to assist either their wives or people. It was more about having facilitators in the organization as such. And then with the pandemic, suddenly the organization came online instead of physical conferences in the big cities. And now there were 300,000 members and 80% were women.
Wow.
So suddenly the women had the opportunity to be part of this organization. They didn't have to leave their families. They didn't need to leave as the supporting person, taking care of the children, their husbands, and also due to the pandemic, a lot of people lost their lives. They were also then allowed more freedom in knowing about their financials. So they were allowed that part as well. So it was such a privilege then to talk at a conference in that organization, bringing more awareness and bringing consciousness into how they could, as an individual, strengthen themselves,
yes,
build better businesses, and to become aware that they are the leaders in their communities, that with who they are, their ripple effect of whatever strength they build from within will create a positive change in the environment around them, changing the world by every breath they take. So it was, it's a great honor and privilege to be speaking at that conference.
Yes. Yeah.
And also because I myself, I'm a single mother, not by choice, but it became that way. And I could suddenly speak at that conference because it was online, because I was not willing in time of pandemic to leave my daughter behind and go talk. So I experienced myself to have the opportunity in that time, because, it's not that I am, going away for a couple of days at a time when I have to assist workshops and so, but I wouldn't have taken, the risk in these times. So, just, from my own point of view, I think, it's extremely important that we look at how can we assist resources being brought to life and online, and the pandemic is assisting that part as well.
Absolutely. I think it's made a massive difference to many people being able to go online, including us today, of course.
Absolutely, Wendy.
Absolutely. And, I know that you are a very spiritual lady. And what is your spiritual daily practice? And do you involve your daughter within that?
Well, usually we put on even our alarm clock is my preferred meditation music. And then we wake up, do probably as everybody else, get our breakfast and lunch bags packed. And I get my daughter to kindergarten, and then I meditate. But when it's weekend or she has to stay at home for some reason, she is around me. I'm not forcing her to be quiet or sit down, but she has learned by now, she's turning 4 in January, that I have 15 minutes where we put on a certain piece of music of choice, of course, and within my meditation preferences. And then I meditate. And I have Nepalese bells, oracle cards. We go to that space in our home where I have all of that, and she has free range of playing with that while I meditate.
Yes.
And sometimes she sits down next to me. Other times she is playing. last Monday I was covered in pillows, and I heard her say, "You look so soft and warm behind the pillows, Mom." And I sometimes hear her voice saying, "I pray for humanity, that they feel safe and taken care of, and they get to hold frogs in their hands like when me and Mom go to the forest." so I have all of these little stories going on around me. But
how wonderful. Yeah.
But before her, I meditated in airports. I meditated, for me, because I've meditated since I was a child.
Yes.
So, and as a young, when she was a baby, instead of meditating in longer period of times, I picked my favorite music that I would have in the background, and I would be breathing. So using my breathing practice to be more in tune with, with the divine. And my daughter knows when we drive by ambulances, we are sending good energies for the ambulance people, the people taken care of, and their families. And so I have tons of spiritual practices that I probably don't think of as spiritual because it's so ingrained in my life. When I'm cooking, I'm just grateful for all the ingredients that I have. And there's just so many things throughout the day where I bring in that consciousness into my life with either crystal balls as decorations, big feathered wings on the walls symbolizing my daughters, the small one, and mine, the bigger ones, and just the way that we are with people. So I think there are many, many practices that we do have. And I will take time to write that down because it is not probably as practiced. And I see it of my daughter's friends when they're coming from kindergarten and their parents are coming over. I do see that they do realize that we do live very differently to them. But it's who we are. And I've lived like that since I was a small child. I see energies. My, spirit comes to me and talk to me. My family members that have passed over, they're a natural part of my conversations. And it's, so I probably do live in a world where the veil between the spiritual realm and our physical world is very thin or maybe non-existent. So that's probably more how I would describe my spiritual way of being in life.
So wonderful. Well, we have come towards the end of our interview today, but I would just like to mention, Christel, that I know that you've recently been involved in a collaborative book called Demystifying Mediumship. But firstly, I'd just like to really thank you for your time today. It's been wonderful and a wonderful journey that you have been through. Thank you for sharing that with us. And where can we contact you, or where can people contact you?
Well, people can go to my website, either ChristelRosenkildeChristensen.com or TreasureWorldLeaders.com. And there I have meditations available and my own book, The Treasure, How to Change the World with Energetic Leadership Approaches and case studies and so forth for people to themselves to apply these things in their life and their work. But I'm also on social media where I'm trying to share as much to uplift the spirit of anyone following for free, which is Christel R. Christensen on Instagram and Christel Rosenkilde Christensen on Facebook and LinkedIn. So at the moment, these are the spaces, and I love to share, and I hope you're all joining me. And for sessions and so forth, you can just write me through the contact page on my website. But thank you so much, Wendy, for having me. It's such an honor to be with you always.
It's been so wonderful. It's been so wonderful. So thank you once again, Christel. And this is Wendy Dixon from Intuitive Life with Wendy Dixon.